associated having money to being very arrogant, to being very horrible. I get notifications, you missed out on this payment, you missed out on this, you missed out on that. To myself, in order for me to have drive and ambition, I need to have less. I'm the kind of person that struggles with money. Money comes into your account and all of a sudden it just goes out like that. You struggle at the end of the month to even have any money left over to carry on to the next month. People talk about saving. You try your very best to save. You do a lot of overtime work. You try the best that you can to have as much money as you can, but you keep failing. This has become a conversation between you and your friends. You talk about how the job is paying you low money, how you cannot buy this. You even discussing how you can start eating low quality food, getting food from the lowest of places in order for you to survive. Now, I'm going to tell you two things. Number one, if you're hanging around those friends, I want you to distance yourself away from those friends because they are not helping you at all. You need friends that talk about how to get money, how to elevate, and how to get out of that situation or that dump. Number two, you are not alone. I am in that situation. This is why I'm making this video, so we can both be accountable to each other. What if I was to tell you that you will still be the same 5 years from now, apart from the decisions you make now, the people you surround yourself with, and the books you read? At the beginning of this year, I read this book, Money Mindset by Brian Carruthers, and it got me thinking. This is why I'm making this video here. You're going to keep me accountable. I'm going to keep you accountable. I'm going to give you a list, 3 to 4 months of accountability of where I am on this journey. But here are some things that I'm going to incorporate for this journey to be smooth, and you as well can try as much as you can to put these things into your daily money habits. So something a tiny bit about me, the way I have seen money and the way I have associated money with myself has been a bit toxic. It goes back down to when I was young. Not everything starts when you're young. Some things you start when you're older. But for me, when I was young, all I ever had and all I ever listened to were conversations of like, the rich people are mean people, they are horrible people. All the girls that were rich, I was in boarding school. Everyone that was rich and had a lot of money, they struggled in school because everyone associated them with their money and their lack of knowledge. And they always called them not smart enough in school, and I didn't like that kind of attention that they got. So for me, I associated having money to being very arrogant, to being very horrible, and not being smart at all, because I thought the more money you have, the less smart you are. But to myself, in order for me to have drive and ambition, I need to have less, and that affected me my whole entire life. But tear crying, sadness, I'm glad that I realized this. So go back to your past and figure out what has become a reality or an identity in terms of your money. One of the quotes that really stood out to me is by Jim Rohn, and he said, you can change your life in the next 5 years. You can change your life at 35, you can change your life at 40, you can change your life at 60, you can change your life at 30, you can even change your life at 20, you can change your life at 25, you can change your life at 70. And therefore, you can also change your money mindset and your wealth at this very age. It's never too late. Whatever age you are, you can change your money mindset. In your life, you either exercise self-discipline or the world will discipline you. Either way, you make your bed and you lay in it. So here are some of the tips and things I've been reading in this book. It's a very tiny book, so I would recommend you to go and pick up this book and literally read it. You'll be done with it in a week if you're really serious and you really want to change your money mindset. So the very first thing that you're going to do is to create a wealth account. And this wealth account is what you're going to use to build wealth. And this is going to change your future. So one of the things I've said to myself that I am going to do, that I've done already, I have set up pots within my account. Monzo does this, and I think a lot of other places do. Sterling, maybe different banks, you can try and do that. Try banks that are online, they normally do that. So I have a Monzo account, and on the account I've set up different type of pots, and I've named each pot for according to what I want it to be. So I'm creating these spending pots so that if I know money is out of that, I am not going to touch any other money or my savings. It takes discipline. Like if you don't discipline yourself now, the world will discipline you through debts, through continuous struggle of money, and crying at night, in your bed. Like you look around and you have that £1,000, bag, that Jacquemus bag. You look at it and you have it. But then in the night, when you look at your account, it's crying for help. Next one is pay yourself first. This is not the first time I've heard about pay yourself first. I heard about this in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, about paying yourself first. I've watched several videos. I've watched a lady called Nishka. She talks about it. She's an accountant and she's financially free at the moment, and she talks about one of the best things that you can ever do if you want to be financially free is paying yourself first. Now, what is paying yourself first? When you know the money that you get paid every single month, let's say 1,500, you are going to set 10% of that 1,500 to go into your wealth account. Okay, if you make maybe 3,000, of the 10%, you'll be putting away about £300. So if your money is up, you know you can increase your percentage to 20% or 10%. But the first things that you have to do is always pay yourself first. He says in the book that it's very vital to literally build wealth automatically. That building wealth shouldn't be something that you should think about, later on. No, it should just be automatic like that. You just know when your salary comes, you take 10% off, you put it on the side, and that is going to help you. Because one of the beautiful things he says in this book on page 23, he says, assume someone in your family becomes very ill and they needed advanced treatment care to save her life or their lives. The treatment is only available overseas and the cost was going to be hundreds of thousands of pounds. How much would you love to pull out your checkbook and handle it all together? Would you love it? Of course you would. So technically what he's trying to say to you that just keep putting money aside, not for any reason. How beautiful is it when your children grow up and you want to take them to private school and you're like, I can do it. You just get the money and you put it out. Saving doesn't mean that you have to have a reason or a purpose as to why you're putting money in, because some people say to themselves, I don't need this, I don't need that, so I'm not going to put money in. But just put money in there, because the beauty of knowing that I have a friend that is having a birthday party, how would it be to give them £100 just as a contribution for their birthday? You know, if I wanted to go somewhere, how beautiful is it to just say, yeah, I can pay for that medical bill for myself, or I can go to that particular place. So change the mindset in which you think about saving. You think in your mind, I have to save because I need to buy this particular thing. You don't have to save because you have to buy something. You can literally just save and put money aside, not for yourself, but for the comfort of the life that you want your friends and family and yourself to live. Number 3 is spending. Now, this is where everything goes down. Is one of the things that I can tell you I need prayers and deliverance from. The best way to explain spending is that you have to live below your means. Your expenses have to be lower than your income. You have to reduce on how much you're spending outside in order for you to increase on what you're going to have in your bank account. Poverty mindset is a mindset of thinking that I need to buy that thing. Without that new t-shirt, I cannot live. Without that new shoe, I cannot live. Without going for that holiday this year, my life is going to go apart. If I don't have that latest bag, or if I don't invest in this thing that everybody else is investing in, then I am not cool enough, or I'm not living the life that I want to live. That is the biggest scam. He says that the difference between wealthy people, and let me get this straight with you, there's a difference between wealthy people and rich people. Being wealthy means that you can retire today and the money that you have saved can feed you for the time until you die, can feed your family and the people around you, and can give you the comfort that you want to have. Being rich is different. It's having a set amount of money into your account, and without you adding in money in your account every now and then, you literally have nothing. Having money in your account is like, yes, you're rich, but are you wealthy? There is a difference. That's why you hear people talking about generational wealth, that even the fathers and the mothers and the grandparents and the children of the children of children of children will still enjoy that money. He says wealthy people live below their means. He gave an example of Warren Buffett. You have to remember that Warren Buffett is one of the 10 wealthiest people in the world. Not in your country, not in your town, not in your village, not in your courtyard, not in your family, but in the whole entire world. Now, Warren Buffett, with billions of money in his account, he was worth, like his net worth was billions and billions of money. He still lived in the house that he bought in 1958. He lives a very frugal life. Now you're thinking frugal. Let me explain to you how frugal it is. In my current research, I found out that he still drives a 2014 Cadillac XTS car. It's not the fanciest car that you can ever imagine. It's not the fanciest car you can find. Okay? Because some of us, we put our identity based on the house that we live in, the car that we drive. I always talk about this, and I always say, why is it you find someone living in a council flat, for example, or living in the most shadiest tiny house or flat, but they're driving a Range Rover on the road? Do you know how much it costs a Range Rover? Like, to have a Range Rover, how much it costs, whether you're having it on finance or you paid for it upright. Let's talk about the fuel that you're paying. Let's talk about the taxes. Let's talk about the insurance that you're paying. The insurance is ridiculous. And let's talk about the repairs of the car. It costs you a lot to repair a Range Rover. Like, we all know this, okay? I never understood why people do that. But then it's about the definition, the way people define themselves when it comes to money. And to be honest with me, I have always thought about that. I'm just like, I need to wear nicely, dress nicely, and do that because I need to look like though I'm not actually struggling. But the truth is that if I'm struggling, I am struggling. There is a point at which you have to be like, you know what, this, not me having this or not me owning this, does not actually define me. For example, I'll give you a very tiny example. I wanted this cup, the Stanley, I think, cups, the mugs. I wanted that mug so bad because everyone TikTok, everyone is having it. You're seeing people around holding the bag and looking so cute. I'm like, oh my God, like, it's the era of having like a huge mug. And I'm like, Lucy, you have a big water bottle that you drink every single day. It's the same as having one, but you just want to fit in. It costs a lot of money, but you just want to own it just for the sake of it. And I'm just like, no, that's not right. It doesn't define me, okay? But in the book, Money Mindset, Brian also says that you should not live like a poor person. Gives a mind-blowing example. He drives a very expensive car. Like, as he's writing this book, he's not telling you that just buy a cheap car and live, in a cheap way. He says, no, I am telling you about this, but I drive an expensive car. That's what Brian was saying. That car costed him 6 weeks of his salary. He said, if you're going to buy that particular item, how much money is it going to cost you? He said 6 weeks of salary does not drain his account, does not make any effect on his account. Think to yourself, if that money comes out of the account, is it going to make me happier, stay awake at night? And he says, is it better off holding a 800 pounds worth bag or looking at your account and having 800 pounds in your account? Which one is better? Beginning of this video. So the other point is something that I always run away from is good debt versus bad debt. Okay, he explains there's no such thing as good debt and there's no such thing as bad debt. He goes ahead and he explains in this very book, and he says that any debt that costs less than 10% is not really a bad debt, because we equate debt to being debt, and just the word debt means a negative. It means that, oh my God, that's something really bad. But no, there is debt that is good to have, and there is debt that is very detrimental to your wealth. Explains that the first goal is to pay off all debts that really have a higher interest rate. Now, the debts that if you take longer to pay them, they increase and increase and increase. For me personally, it's always like the parking tickets and stuff like that, like to get personal with you. And if you don't pay off the first time, then they send a letter and they increase it to, if you don't pay off in the first 14 days, it goes up to 60 pounds. You don't pay up, it goes up to 110 or 100 and whatever it is. And then by the time you notice, a debt that was meant to be 30 pounds is now 400 pounds. And that is one of the things I'm trying to pay off now. And it's like, why did I not pay off that 30 pounds and got done with it? Why did I have to wait, thinking that they'll forget about it and they'll just leave me alone? They will never forget about it. They will not leave it alone, because it's money. We all want money. You want money. I want money. We all want money. Like, money revolves around the world. We sleep at night thinking about money. You go to sleep at night scrolling and watching things that you can shop. How are you going to shop that? Through money. Okay, so let's not deceive ourselves that money doesn't rule the world. It does rule the world, to be fair. And then he says that at some point in your life, you may increase your debt because you want to increase your wealth. And he says just because someone is wealthy does not mean that they don't have debt. They do actually have debt, but it just depends on what kind of debt they have, which bracket they fall into. Is it good or bad debt? Because there is no such thing as debt-free and not having any debt at all. Financially, it's not good. There is some sort of debt that you kind of have. I'm not a financial advisor, so I may be giving wrong information, but from what I've researched, you need a little bit of debt somewhere. So personally, what I did, I got all my debts together and I said, okay, what am I going to do with all these debts? Because they're really ruining my life and they're really making me upset. and they're not making me happy. So what I did is that I called up one of those my debt plan situations. So good, because my debt plan literally puts all your debt in one and it helps you pay it off. However, when you're looking at my debt plan, there are some debts that you just have to pay off, and the interest increases and increases there and there. It depends on what kind of debt plan you've gone for and what they can offer you and what they can give you. You have to make it a habit. Like, the habits begin now, the problems begin now. It's the small things you think will not cost you, in the long run they'll cost you. All the financial problems that I did when I was 18, I thought, oh my God, I'm free, I can borrow, I can do all. Everywhere I went, when I wanted to borrow, they would say yes, 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 yes to me. And because of that yes, I kept on getting stuff. But now I'm paying for it. I'm going into my 30s and I'm paying for this. So every single thing that you do, every habit, anything you do in this world, you pay back. Like, you're not going to live a non-payback life. Like, every habit, every discipline, everything you decide not to do or do will have a consequence at the end of the day. This one is something that I can say put me in trouble, and I'm never going to do it again. Never, never, never. It's pay your taxes. Okay. One of the very important things that I have had to register in my brain, that I've had to kind of come to terms with, that I still argue with myself with, is paying taxes. Now, I work in a job whereby automatically my taxes are taken off, from, my pay money that I get. But if you're self-employed and you having like your own self-employment, please pay your taxes. Open up a separate account. Monzo does this very well. If you open up a business account, it does have a pot that allows you that every money that comes into your business account, they take 20% of that money and they put it into, the tax pot. If you do that, it's going to save you quite a lot. And Brian, in the book Money Mindset, he says, you must treat your taxes very serious. You need to pay what you owe and pay on time. You guys are falling into this trap, so I'm telling you, pay your taxes and pay them on time. You'll be free. You'll be free from the government. The rest of it will be your own personal police. But if you're doing about government police, HMRC, do not play with them. Do not joke around with them. Pay your taxes. You may think, how is that going to help my debt? It's going to save you a lot of stress, hassle, and everything. Okay? They'll come to your house and they'll collect your TV, your sofa, your laptop, everything that you think you enjoy and love. They'll come and get it. Since you cannot pay that money, let's sell this stuff and get our money back. And tip number 6, I think I mentioned it before, it is set a personal budget and set a business budget. If you have a business or if you want to start something, set different kind of budgets. I talked about it earlier on where I was talking about how I'd have different pots for different things. Set a budget, anticipate how much will be coming in and how much do you intend to go out, and literally stick to that. Always remember this: if you're not self-disciplined enough, the world will discipline you. Choose your bed. Whatever bed you lay, whatever bed you make, you will lay in it. Then the other one that I'm going to try as much as I can, which I struggle with, because think about it this way: you don't have money, you struggle with money, and they're saying give it away, give out some money. And it says one of the most important things is to give money away. And I'm not going to lie to you, every book I have picked up that talks about financial freedom, that talks about wealth, always talks about giving. I do not know why, but it says when you give in abundance, you receive in abundance. He talks about a gentleman called Paul Mayer, and he says this gentleman said to him that everything that is in this world is created by God. It does not belong to us. So he says that you are living in a special abundance if you do give back, and success will not be something that you will struggle with, because when you give back, you are more likely to get back. Sometimes people's words are the blessing that you need in this world to kind of give back. And I know so many of you are here and you're saying, I am struggling, how can I give up? £1 is better than nothing. £2, whatever you can give is very good. You can even be giving out your clothes or something. Just give. Be a giver. Be a giver as much as you can. Don't be a holder, okay? Those are kind of the things that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to give you a check up from the time this video comes out and in 3 months' time. So let's look around March, April. I'll give you feedback on how my journey has been and what has worked for me and what I'm still struggling with. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you do not know who I am, my name is 𝐶𝐂𝐂𝐂𝐂. I make videos to do with self-improvement, self-love, mindset, your physical being, your mental being, your spiritual being, and everything. Okay, so do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I can't wait to see both of us being financially free, because £50 is in my account right now as I'm speaking to you. I'm just living on the edge, saying that let nothing shock me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My name remains Lucie. Bye bye.